The year is 1977. It is a humid, heavy August night in Memphis, Tennessee. Inside the gates of Graceland, the world's most famous home, the air is thick with the scent of honeysuckle and the suffocating weight of silence. Elvis Presley, the man who had reshaped the world with a single swivel of his hips, sat alone in the jungle room. The television flickered with no sound, casting ghostly blue shadows across his face. To the world, he was a god in a rhinestone jumpsuit. To himself, he was a tired 42-year-old man trapped in a golden cage. His body ached, his heart felt heavy with the ghosts of the past, and the roar of the crowds had been replaced by the ticking of a clock. He missed the red dirt of Tupelo. He missed the simple touch of his mother Gladys's hand. That night, the king didn't want to be a legend. He just wanted to be human. Around 2 a.m., driven by a restless energy he couldn't name, Elvis grabbed his keys. He didn't call his Memphis Mafia bodyguards. He didn't alert the staff. He slipped out the back, climbed into his sleek, black Stutz Blackhawk, and roared past the gates. The engine's growl was the only thing that felt real. He drove away from the neon lights of Beale Street, heading toward the outskirts of the city where the street lamps were fewer and the shadows were longer. A sudden, violent southern thunderstorm began to lash the windshield. The rain fell in sheets, blurring the world into a gray watercolor. It was there, on a lonely stretch of Highway 51, that he saw a flash of movement. Pulled over in the muddy shoulder was a vehicle so old it looked like it belonged to a different century. Standing beside it was a man, his back hunched against the torrential downpour. He was trying to change a tire, but his hands were shaking so violently from the cold and age that the lug wrench kept slipping. "Oh!" Elvis slowed down. Most celebrities would have sped past, fearing a trap or a scandal. But Elvis saw himself in that man. He saw the poverty he had escaped and the struggle that never truly leaves a man's soul. He pulled the massive car over, the headlights illuminating the stranger like a spotlight on a stage. The man's name was Elias. He was an elderly blues musician who had spent 40 years playing in smoky bars for tips that barely paid for his guitar strings. That night, he was trying to get to his granddaughter's bedside in a local charity hospital. She was sick, and he was broke. When the door of the luxury car opened, Elias expected a police officer or a disgruntled driver. Instead, a man stepped out wearing a heavy coat and a high-collared shirt. Even in the dark, the man radiated a strange electric energy. "Need a hand, partner?" the voice asked, that deep, soulful baritone that had sold 1 billion records. Elias squinted through the rain. I can't get it loose, sir. My hands, they don't work like they used to." What happened next was a scene no camera would ever capture. The king of rock and roll, a man whose hands were insured for millions, knelt in the Tennessee mud. He took the wrench from the old man. Elvis struggled with the rusted bolts, the rain soaking his expensive hair and his silk shirt. But he didn't stop until the tire was changed. When he stood up, he was covered in grease and dirt. He looked at Elias and smiled, a genuine lopsided smile that reached his tired eyes. "You're shivering, Mr. Elias. Come into the car. Let's get you warm." Inside the car, Elias finally saw his savior's face clearly. His jaw dropped. You're him. You're the boy from the posters. You're Elvis." Elvis let out a soft, sad laugh. "Tonight, I'm just a guy who's glad he found a friend in the rain." As they drove toward the hospital, Elias talked. He didn't talk about Elvis's movies or his gold records. He talked about the blues. He talked about how music was a prayer you sent up when the world forgot you existed. Elvis listened with an intensity that was almost painful. "I know," Elvis whispered. "I remember the hunger, Elias. People think money fills the holes, but it just hides them. Before they reached the hospital, Elvis reached into his pocket and pulled out a heavy gold and diamond TCB, taking care of business, ring, a symbol of his inner circle. He pressed it into the old man's weathered palm. "Take this. It's not just jewelry. It's a promise that you aren't alone." Elias tried to refuse, his eyes filling with tears. "I can't take this, Mr. Presley. This is worth a fortune." "It's worth nothing compared to the song you just reminded me how to sing," Elvis replied. Elvis dropped Elias at the hospital and disappeared into the night. The next morning, Elias was woken up in the hospital waiting room by a man in a sharp suit, a representative from a local bank. "Mr. Elias, I have a message from a friend who wishes to remain anonymous." The representative handed him a folder. In it was the deed to a small, beautiful house near the park, fully furnished. There was also a trust fund set up in his granddaughter's name that would cover her medical bills and her entire education. Oh, but the most precious gift was in a velvet box. It wasn't the gold ring. Elvis had sent a courier to retrieve that for cleaning. Instead, it was a brand new, top-of-the-line Gibson guitar with a note tucked under the strings. "Play the blues, Elias. The world needs to hear the truth. EP." Less than 2 weeks later, the world stopped spinning. August 16th, 1977. The news flashed across every television on the planet. Elvis Presley was dead. The world mourned the icon, the voice, and the legend. But in a small, quiet house on the edge of Memphis, an old man sat on his porch, strumming a Gibson guitar. He didn't cry for the king. He cried for the man who had knelt in the mud when the world was dark. Elvis Presley's life was a tragedy of fame, a whirlwind of glitter and noise that eventually exhausted his spirit. But his true legacy wasn't found in the charts or the history books. It was found in the secret miracles he performed in the dead of night. He was a man who reached the highest peak of human glory, yet never forgot the feeling of the dirt beneath his feet. He died a king, but he lived as a servant to the brokenhearted. Values are like fingerprints. You leave them on everything you do. Elvis Presley.